Morning, good to have you with us on this Friday. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We have a lot to get to this morning. In just a few minutes, we'll sit down with former commercial pilot Anthony Roman and NBC News national security reporter Dan DeLuce. But we're going to get started with NBC's Aaron Gilchrist. He's at Reagan National Airport for us.
Aaron, good morning. So federal investigators say it's going to be a long, painstaking process to determine what caused the midair collision. We know we'll get a preliminary report soon, but the entire investigation, that could take several months, if not more than a year. What is the latest in the investigation and just what we're learning about the circumstances surrounding the crash?
Well, those black boxes that we've been talking about, Joe, really are critical to what the NTSB will be doing in the weeks and months ahead of us. The black boxes were recovered from the airplane that was involved in this crash 2 nights ago. The team from the NTSB has yet to get its hands on the data recorder, the information from the helicopter, but really having that information will help them to paint a picture of what was happening in each of those aircraft in the minutes before this crash happened and potentially even after to some degree. And that's going to be so important to really helping us all understand what happened here. The dive teams that were in the water since the minutes after this collision first happened are now out of the water. We understand there was a suspension of the recovery operations last night. Those will resume today, and NTSB teams will be with divers from the D.C. Fire Department and other agencies back on the water as the process to recover bodies continues, and the process to recover pieces of the aircraft will continue for the NTSB to again help inform their investigation process. I want you to hear from the chair of the NTSB. She spoke to the media yesterday a little bit about their process to try to help us understand what they're going to be doing and looking at going forward.
We look at the human, the machine, and the environment. So we will look at all the humans that were involved in this accident. Again, we will look at the aircraft, we will look at the helicopter, we will look at the environment in which they were operating in.
And we were told by the NTSB yesterday that it would be spending some time with the families of the victims involved in the collision here. We know that that happened yesterday afternoon. Obviously, an important part of this as well. As much as we want answers about what happened here, we can't forget about the fact that there were 67 people who are believed to have died as a result of this crash. We understand from our station here in Washington, NBC Washington, that about 40 bodies have been recovered up to this point. And so part of the mission for the dive teams again today, Joe and Savannah, will be to get back out on the water and to continue the recovery process.
And Aaron, in that same vein, you mentioned that number there. Late last night, we did hear from Washington officials. The way they put it is that the divers had searched all the accessible areas of the Potomac River. There were 67 victims, though, in total. That's what's believed to be the case, and you mentioned that count so far. So what is next in the recovery efforts here?
Yeah, searching so much of the accessible area obviously is an important part for the divers here to get into the fuselage of the plane, which we understand was broken into 3 parts, to try to retrieve the bodies of the victims here. You're showing some of their pictures on the screen here. We heard some reporting again from our station here in D.C. that there were instances where divers went into the fuselage and there were people who were still strapped into their seats. But it's still critically important that the search effort include recovering those bodies. And then there's a large section of the Potomac River here from where the airport is along the river all the way down to the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, as we understand, which is probably a couple of miles, where there has been debris discovered. And so they're going to continue to scour the waters here to try to get any debris that may be relevant to the NTSB investigation. Those things go back to a laboratory, to hangar spaces, and the teams from the NTSB will look at all of that stuff, all of that, the debris that's collected and all the information that's on those black boxes, again, to try to help them paint a more complete picture of what happened here. We, Savannah and Joe, I should mention, talked to some of the folks who were flying into Reagan yesterday, some of the first flights to begin happening here again. People told me that they were able to see the wreckage in the water as they were landing here, a surreal moment for them. Also a sad moment. One woman told us as she was landing, she just prayed for the souls that had been lost as a result of this accident.
Something so many people are doing right now. Aaron, thank you for your reporting. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let's bring in Anthony Roman. He's a former commercial pilot. You were with us through the morning yesterday as we talked through this. Thank you so much for being here again, Anthony. So we mentioned those 2 black box devices being recovered from the jet, the American Airlines plane. Walk us through how investigators start to analyze those devices, what information they have that could provide any answers.
Well, those black boxes have a potpourri of data that is exceptionally useful for the NTSB to conduct a detailed analysis of what may have gone wrong. As we discussed yesterday, once that airliner is under 1,000 feet, the TCAS, the Collision Alert System, does not function fully. It does have information as to where the conflicting traffic is and the distance it is, but it doesn't provide oral warnings. It doesn't make any suggestions as to which direction and what action to take. So the black boxes will have the recordings of the pilots speaking to one another, whether or not they saw the aircraft at the last moment, what their descent rate was the power settings properly set, were they approaching the airport following proper procedure. So all of the mechanical and electronic information with regard to how the aircraft is functioning and whether it's functioning properly is also in those data boxes. So tremendous amount of information and exceptionally helpful.
Something else people are talking about, NBC News reporting a preliminary report by the FAA indicating air traffic control staffing was not normal at the time of the crash, so it was deemed acceptable. Basically, one person keeping an eye on both plane and helicopter traffic at that moment. We don't know what the cause is right now, but how closely will investigators look at this?
Well, acceptable, quote unquote, is a subjective phrase. My understanding and my personal experience with very busy airports, JFK, LaGuardia, DCA, Atlanta, and others, simply reflect that the controllers are beyond exceptionally busy. They sound like Southern auctioneers at a horse auction. Wow, yeah. They speak so rapidly. There are so many aircraft inbound and outbound. So many occasional conflicts that they have to resolve. There are language concerns in approaching foreign and international pilots who do not speak English exceptionally well or have thick accents, and they have to carve their way through that during very busy transient times at airports. Now, you introduce helicopters flying 200 to 300 feet under jetliners. And from my personal perspective, it's just a bridge too far. It's a tad too much.
And we'll see if change comes after a tragedy like this. Anthony Roman, thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
As the investigation and recovery continue, we are learning more about the victims who lost their lives in this collision. That includes soldiers as well as figure skaters and their coaches and parents. One of the victims, just 12 years old. NBC News Now anchor Tom Yama shares some of their stories and how they're being remembered.
In that stunning moment of horror, Flight 5342 was only minutes away from landing when the lives of its 60 passengers and 4 crew members suddenly ended. The violent collision with a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter also killing 3 U.S. service members, an Army captain, staff sergeant, and chief warrant officer. 67 lives lost in an instant.
As friends and family of the victims prayed for a miracle, there was little hope, because after that collision in the sky, both aircraft plummeted into the Potomac River, the icy waters that were only waist deep and about 35 degrees.
We spoke with D.C.'s fire chief moments before he went to meet with those victims' families.
When you go into a meeting like that, I mean, what goes through your head and what do you want to tell them?
They're going to ask us questions, and we're going to do our best to answer those questions with the facts.
The first officer of the American Airlines flight was Sam Lilly, his father posting he was so proud when Sam became a pilot. Also on the flight, some of the country's most promising young figure skaters who were in Wichita at a highly selective training camp.
There are brothers and sisters, and we're all very close to each other.
The Skating Club of Boston, devastated. 6 affiliated with the club perished. Olympic figure skater Nancy Kerrigan trained with the club as a teen.
Much like everyone here has been saying, is not sure how to process it. Oh, shoot, I'm sorry.
For 1956 Olympic champion Tenley Albright, the tragedy brought back memories of the 1961 plane crash that killed 18 U.S. figure skaters.
I really can't believe that it happened, because I picture them right here.
Among those lost now, 13-year-old skater Gina Hahn and her mother Jin. Gina was known for her grace and musicality on the ice. And 16-year-old Spencer Lane, who was traveling with his mom Christine. Spencer was known for his jumps, chronicling his progress on TikTok. His final post on Instagram, this view from his plane window before takeoff.
Skating is a very close and tight-knit community. It's a close, tight bond, and I think for all of us, we have lost family.
Also on board, skating coaches and former world champions Zhenya Shishkova and Vadim Nomov. The married couple leaves behind their son, Max, a skater hoping to qualify for the Winter Olympics next year. Brielle Beyer was only 12 years old. Her mom, Justina Magdalena, with her on the plane, remembered at her home rink in Virginia.
She's really, really talented, and they were my inspiration.
The D.C. fire chief also tells me that when they came out here, they thought they could possibly find some survivors. That was their hope. But after searching for several hours in those icy waters in the darkness, they realized that there were no survivors. He tells me that because the fuselage is in pieces and because things are still under the water, it's been hard to recover some of the victims that are either trapped or they just have not been located just yet. Reporting from Reagan National Airport, Tom Yamas, NBC News.
Tom, thank you very much. Just heartbreaking. Well, the Pentagon is launching its own investigation into this crash.
We want to give you a live look at the Potomac River, where the recovery mission is still underway. Now, that Department of Defense investigation will look into how the Black Hawk military helicopter, which was apparently being manned by an experienced crew, managed to collide with the airplane.
NBC News national security reporter Dan DeLuz joins us on this now. Dan, thanks for joining us. Yesterday, President Trump had said the pilots of the Army helicopter bore responsibility for this crash. We also heard Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth describe them as fairly experienced. What more do we know at this point about who was on this training flight, what their experience level actually was, and how that factors in?
That's right. This crew was very experienced by all accounts. They were very seasoned. One of the pilots had more than 1,000 hours, flight hours. The other had about 500. And this was merely an evaluation flight, an annual kind of evaluation for experienced crew. And of course, the Army and the military fly helicopters in that area, partly as a VIP service. They are ferrying senior officials and some military commanders around the Washington area, and they fly low along the Potomac River. Anyone who has spent time in D.C. will tell you about the pretty heavy helicopter traffic that flows up and down the Potomac. So it would be very misleading to think this was these were novices flying that helicopter. And also, it's very common to see that type of helicopter, the Black Hawk. That is a common helicopter to see along the Potomac. So at the moment, we don't know why this collision happened. And there's no evidence at this point that it was pilot error. As we've just heard, this is a methodical effort here to investigate what happened. And mishaps and aviation accidents take time to understand. And they go through all the equipment, and they interview the air traffic controllers and so on.
There are no easy answers. Of course, we have the big NTSB investigation. So, Dan, what is the Pentagon specifically going to focus on with its investigation?
Of course, they will always defer to and be helping the federal investigation, which is the lead. But they will be looking at the pilots, the crew, what their flight plan was going into this for this evaluation, what path or lane they were on. There are routes for the helicopters and then routes for the planes. And, were they in the right lane? Were they shifting to another lane? Was that handled properly? Did they have proper information? And what kind of situational awareness did they have as that passenger jet approached?
Dan DeLuz, thank you very much.
In a news conference following the collision Thursday, President Trump took the opportunity to attack hiring decisions and leadership at the Department of Transportation under the Biden administration. Without providing any evidence, he suggested diversity, equity, and inclusion policies were to blame for the deadly crash. NBC News senior White House correspondent Garrett Hake has the details.
In a White House news conference that began with a somber moment of silence, President Trump pivoting from prayer.
I speak to you this morning in an hour of anguish for our nation.
To politics.
I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first.
Suggesting without evidence that Democratic DEI policies at the FAA and military, which President Trump ended last week with an executive order, may have contributed to the midair collision.
We have to have our smartest people. It doesn't matter what they look like, how they speak, who they are. It matters intellect, talent.
At one point, going after Biden Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
Just got a good line of bull. He's run it right into the ground with his diversity.
But reporters pressing the president. What evidence did he have that diversity hiring caused the crash?
It just could have been.
And later, as he signed an order to review FAA hiring decisions the last 4 years.
Are you saying race or gender played a role in this tragedy?
It may have. I don't know. Incompetence might have played a role. We'll let you know that.
The president echoed by the vice president and defense secretary.
We want the best people at air traffic control. The era of DEI is gone at the Defense Department.
But the comments sparking fierce backlash. Buttigieg posting, despicable. As families grieve, Trump should be leading, not lying. We put safety first. The top Senate Democrat responding.
For the President of the United States to throw out idle speculation as bodies are still being recovered and families still being notified. It just turns your stomach.
Our thanks to Garrett Hake for that report. The president also named a new acting FAA director last night. The position had been vacant since Inauguration Day when the previous administrator resigned.
Well, on Capitol Hill yesterday, several of President Trump's embattled cabinet picks were on the hot seat for another round of confirmation hearings. Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel, up for top jobs overseeing national security, were the latest to spar with senators. Both attempted to downplay and distance themselves from controversies in their past. NBC News Chief Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles has more.
A pair of President Trump's top national security nominees facing high-stakes confirmation hearings.
There will be no politicization at the FBI.
Former federal prosecutor Kash Patel, nominated for FBI director. The staunch Trump supporter pressed by Democrats about his independence.
Would you be willing to resign the post of FBI director if pressed and given no choice but to obey the order or resign?
Senator, I will always obey the law.
And President Trump's pardons of violent offenders from January 6th.
I do not agree with the commutation of any sentence of any individual who committed violence against law enforcement.
Patel strongly defended by Republicans.
The reason you're here is because most of the public, almost every Republican, believes that the FBI has been used continuously in a political fashion, lying to get Donald Trump.
Across the Capitol, former Democratic Congresswoman and combat veteran Tulsi Gabbard, nominated for Director of National Intelligence.
What truly unsettles my political opponents is I refuse to be their puppet.
Gabbard pushing back on claims she parroted Kremlin talking points.
I want to make certain that in no way does Russia get a pass in either your mind or your heart.
I'm offended by the question because my sole focus, commitment, and responsibility is about our own nation.
And pressed over her previous call for a pardon for Edward Snowden, who fled the U.S. after releasing a trove of government secrets.
Is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America?
I understand how critical our national security
Apparently
is.
you don't.
And Republicans left the hearing for Kash Patel feeling confident that he would win confirmation. They seem more skeptical about the prospects of both Tulsi Gabbard and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., although not one Republican has yet to say they will vote no.
All right, Ryan, thank you.
All right, time to take a look outside. Once again, the Northeast is in for some more snow and also some rain. Let's take a closer look with your Morning News Now weather.
Angie, last minute's already started. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Man, Savannah, you got to sound a little more excited. It's Friday. We don't have all bad news when it comes to the weather, but yes, we do have a kind of wintry mix for some folks across the Northeast and some rain that's going to stretch all the way down to the Southeast. Here's the look right now at your radar. Plenty of rain from the mid-Atlantic back towards Tennessee and Kentucky and stretching down to the Gulf Coast. And we do have a little bit of that wintry weather kind of settling in for New England. So no surprise, those winter weather advisories are up across this region. Those will stay with us through the day today as this system works farther to the east. Big batch of rain associated with it and a little kind of sliver of some of that snow and maybe some ice accumulation that you'll see across this region. But most of it's going to fall in the form of rain, of course, because our temperatures are running above normal for a lot of this part of the country right now. Still, though, a little bit of travel difficulties when it comes to the rain and the ice and snow. Here's a big picture look at the rain. We do still have some snow on the ground in some of these spots. So the melting snow, along with that heavy rain, maybe some localized flooding across this region. But overall, I think we'll pick up maybe a half of an inch of rain in some of the more widespread areas and up to an inch or maybe 2 inches in some of the higher amounts. Now, snowfall forecast, not all that impressive, but maybe an inch across this region. So again, it'll be a little difficult on the roadways, and we'll see some of that ice accumulating. So make sure you have a little extra time if you're going to hit the roads across parts of New England through tonight. Big picture look for your weekend. It'll stay mild for honestly most of us east of the Rockies. Temperatures 60s, 70s across the south. We've got 50s and 60s for parts of the Central Plains. Even the Midwest doesn't look bad for this time of year. Notice the heavy rain, though, that's going to arrive and really is going to arrive today for folks across the West Coast. We've got another atmospheric river taking shape. It's going to bring some much needed rain to parts of California, not Southern California. This is more Central California up into parts of Oregon and Washington along the coast. And that unfortunately continues into Sunday. This is going to leave us with the potential for not just some snow in parts of the mountainous areas, but we'll see some strong winds as well. And of course, that rain will bring the potential for some flooding concerns across that region, specifically Bay Area out east and points into Northern California is where we'll be watching. Otherwise, great day on Sunday for the Southeast, guys, and it'll stay mild for the Midwest.
Sunday, I'm just realizing we won't have a show on your favorite day of the year.
Oh, no. I'm going to
Day.
miss Groundhog Day. The audacity of that rodent to try and take my job, you know?
We'll talk about it when you come back
I'm sure
next
I'll complain
week.
on Monday. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Angie.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.